Yo, what's up, guys? I'm releasing a four-part series on AMC. So this video is going to be part one. It's going to talk about patterns, fractals, and how these are basically these like short-term points of interest. Points of interest, remember, on bar patterns, you're going to see with volume. So anytime there is a large wick or a large group of wicks followed by a big push here in the market with fractals and patterns, that is considered a point of interest. And then we use everything else to narrow these volatility zones in the market. So that's what this video is going to be about. Again, it's a four-part series, so it's going to talk about a lot of different things, but I can't cover it all in one video. So I'm going to go ahead and just split it up and talk about it on each video here. So this one, we're going to start off with patterns. These are scanned through the pattern scanner, and then there are two that I'm tracking just based on what I'm looking at here. So for those that are not familiar with the cycle analysis part of this approach that we take here on AMC, it's basically a mix of things, but one of the things that's very important is patterns and how patterns repeat themselves on many different stocks, cryptos, and follow through on the entire sequence that plays out. So that's what this video is going to cover. And we're going to start off with four stocks here that the pattern scanner was able to scan and spit out here for us. Okay, so the first one we're going to talk about, and these two, again, are ones that I've been tracking here. So we have Ethereum Classic, obviously. Ethereum Classic is currently up a little bit over 50% from the bottom. Okay, and we are tracking behind. So it did predict this move. This is now the third point of interest that has been predicted using Ethereum Classic correlation. So there is still a correlation with it. We're still tracking it, and it's calling for a push up to the 612 range right now. This is what we have right now so far. If crypto continues to push to the upside, well, then that's going to be even better. This is just more confirmation using Ethereum Classic for that. Before Ethereum Classic here, we were also tracking Bed Bath & Beyond. Okay, so if you guys remember, August 2022, we had a massive rally on Bed Bath & Beyond. Now, the ratio levels here are not going to be the same. We do know that Bed Bath & Beyond went from $4 all the way up to $30. But just based on this fractal here, because this is a fractal, not a pattern, we can see that the price here is still following through. We have this double bottom setup followed by that POI, which is lots of volume coming in. We make this hovering projector, and then we reach that $8 range before this next week. Options X, it's a 4-day week, having Monday off, and then we do have options expiring, so it's going to be a pretty hectic week in my opinion. That'll be a little bit talked about more on the next video. I want to focus here on just patterns. Okay, Bed Bath & Beyond's another one, and then these two were scanned with the pattern scanner tool that we have. All right, so we have SFM. It's spitting out just a very sideways, but still upside, so it's still a bullish pattern here. And we also have COMM. Now, this one's a little bit bearish in the short term. This is a possibility in the market. We can see a dip, especially if the SPY decides to gap down or come down on Tuesday. So that's going to be important to watch out for here. If AMC decides to come down, it's possible we will test this 450 range. Now, something like this, a move like this, it's not out of question because, all right, based on this pattern, if we are expected to climb back up on the next point of interest, which is end of January going into February, this would mean that we would be potentially creating a bigger projector pattern that would look something like this. And what this is doing is, well, we're climbing our way up, easy steps, nothing crazy. The faster this pushes up to the upside, okay, the more likely it is that we're going to have a bigger push down. I do see AMC climbing to the levels that I talked about, but we need to do that, slowly. We can't do it very quickly. Here's the Bed Bath & Beyond chart here, and if you guys are familiar with Bed Bath & Beyond, this thing climbed all the way up and then dumped, right? Came all the way back down the dollar and then started to rally again. So we want a healthy push to the upside so that it does slowly develop, start pushing up, kind of like what we saw with GameStop before it ran in January of 2021. Right? It was a ascending Brodney wedge, and it sets up here. The shorts cannot stop this stock from going up, and then it just squeezes, right? All right, so these are some of the patterns that I'm tracking right now, and they're all pretty accurate. They've been tracking from this initial short-term point of interest here on the 11th of January. Now we have these patterns. These are just patterns, so not fractals, and we are tracking these on AMC. So these are all the projector patterns on AMC. We're going to talk about each one. So projector patterns, remember, these are little mountains, look like that, and they happen before every big push we've had here on AMC. So here's a couple. I'll pull up one by one. This is January, January of 2021. So when GameStop ran to 500, this is what AMC did. Prior to it, we're following this one pretty well. And right now, the actual sequence that we are following, based on the indicators and stuff, this is the most accurate pattern right now, based on a larger time window, not a shorter time window. Shorter time window, we have, let's see, it's this one right here. So this is March of 2021 or 2022. This was one of the POIs that we tracked based on the Ethereum Classic rotation, liquidity transfer, and a lot of other indicators that we called for. Even the price target was very accurate. So this one is also following very, very closely on the chart here, and it's calling for some upside on Tuesday, basically. So gap up. Again, this one kind of goes a little bit more with Bed Bath & Beyond. I think both of these are very closely related together. So this one is looking pretty good for next week. Okay, this one is August. So August POI also had this fake out where it comes down. And this one looks a little bit more like COMM, right? And now here, essentially what we would have is a retest at that $4 range. So this is going to crush some of those contracts quickly, and then they have room for, now that volatility is a little bit lower, they have a little bit more room to just bring it back up and bring it back up to the ranges that we saw prior. Because AMC, we know how it works. Once the volatility kicks in, these contracts go, through the roof. And, these market makers are trying to make sure that, well, they sell at a high price, but then collect those premiums once the volatility goes down, right? It's the strategy they use. All right, so that's the other one. Okay, and then we have one more, and this is the projector pattern in June. It's the one that we talk about the most here. It's the one that's very clear as to what is happening, right? You come up, very quickly fake out, and that is your second chance to get in. Now, this one goes a little bit more with the POI that we're tracking. Just the POI is right on this range. So as you can see, all these points of interest that we are tracking in the markets every 62 days, that is a zone to watch out for, to expect some kind of volatility, and this one is very clearly leading us there. So I like this one as well. But, all of these together, because this is where you can kind of make that projection here based on what we can expect next. So here we have all of the combined patterns. These are just patterns. And then we also have, we have two fractals in here, and then we have all the projectors combined. And you can see here that most of these patterns are calling for upside. The only ones that are calling for downside are COMM and then the projector pattern. But even then, the downside is not great here. Like the The downside is just that $450 range. Sure, we can have a quick wick to the 420 for 415 range before springing back up and trading sideways. But it's very likely, I think, with the current market, what crypto is doing right now. Crypto is having a massive rally, and we know how that works. Ethereum Classic is up. It's calling for the 55% range right now. If it keeps pushing to the upside, that's going to be even better. So I think one thing to track here over the weekend is Ethereum Classic. I think this is going to be the most accurate one based on what we've seen happen before. Okay, so I'm going to leave it there here for part one. Again, this one's just specifically talking about patterns and fractals. The next video is going to cover indicators and TA. So technical analysis and indicators is going to be the next video, and it'll go a little bit more in depth on like spots on the massive parallel channel that we follow through every single year, and this massive descending Botany wedge that we're currently in right now. So that will be covered in the next video. I hope you guys like this one. If you have any questions or anything, just drop it down below. Also, do have some links down below that are pretty useful. If you guys want to join the Discord, you could click the link below. And there's a couple of other pretty dope stuff in there. All right, so check it out. Peace out, guys. I'll see you next week on stream.